Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday. It is the first day of December, 2021. I hope this first day of December finds you healthy and COVID-free. I hope that it finds your household healthy and COVID-free, and that the needs of you and your household in terms of food, shelter, and clothing are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, trying to save lives every day. Blessings upon those also that pick up garbage for us to keep our streets and sidewalks clean. Blessings upon those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings upon those that trying to deliver, help, and rescue boys and girls and men and women, children and teenagers from sex slavery, child molestation, human trafficking, pedophilia, people that are stuck in lives of pornography and child pornography, and prostitution and child prostitution, and double curses upon the perpetrators of these heinous things. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. 600,000 people now without a roof over their head in December, and millions around the world in the same condition. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So there was a basketball game last night. Our New York Knicks played the Brooklyn Nets, and they lost a very close game that was decided in the last 17 seconds. 112-110. The Knicks and the Nets went toe-to-toe last night. It was a barn burner. I mean, this was a really, really good game. Now, Tom Thibodeau had a beef, and so did Julius Randle, but Julius always has beef with the ref, but I think the beef was legitimate. And the reason I say that is because both teams were playing hard, and both teams were being aggressive going to the basket. I mean, Julius Randle only took 2 3-pointers the whole game. He had 22 shots. Only 2 of them was 3-pointers. He missed both of them. He was in the key the whole game. How do you do that? And you have one team shoot 25 free throws and the other team only shoot 12. One team you have with 14 fouls called on them, that is the Nets, and you call 21 fouls on the Knicks. Now, I don't know what's going on, but one thing you don't want in basketball anytime is you don't want the referees deciding the basketball game. You don't want the refs doing that. And in a tightly contested game like the one we had last night, you definitely don't want the game decided by referees. But that being the case, you can't do anything about that. It is what it is. We're going to go on to the next game and, win that one, hopefully. But last night, it was a barn burner. The Nets and the Knicks really, the new starting lineup for the Knicks is going to be good. They're going to be really good. The Nets are the top team in the East right now. But the thing about the East, what's interesting about the East, Knicks Nation, is when you look at the standings, the conference standings, say for like in the West, right? In the West, you got Phoenix, Golden State at the top. They're tied. And then there's a 4-game gap. So Utah is the 3rd seed right now, and they're 4 games out from the first place. Okay. In the East, though, the top seed is the Nets, and the 10th seed is Atlanta, and the 11th seed is Boston. And there's only 4 games separating the top seed from the 11th seed. We knew it was going to be a dogfight, and it's going to be a dogfight. Let me tell you, the Nets just played their 21st game. The Knicks just played their 21st game. This thing is far from over. I mean, far from over. You're going to see a lot of jockeying for position in the East this year. And really what it is going to be, 2 things. Number one, we know the best ability is availability. So the team that's the healthiest is going to make it at the end. And the team that's playing their best basketball I gotta move this thing because I think the light's coming. The team that's playing their best basketball in the spring, like March and April, those are the teams you're going to see rise to the top. So it's hard to see right now. So the standings almost don't mean anything right now, except that you just want to win every game that you can. but the East is going to be a dogfight. And that's what's going to determine your Eastern Conference champion. Who's the healthiest and who's playing the best basketball in the spring. Now, that bodes well, again, for the Knicks because we are deep. And it showed last night. I mean, R.J. Barrett was sick. Mitchell Robinson was sick also, but he was able to play. But R.J. could only play, I think he played like 8 minutes, and that was it. He couldn't even continue. They were both sick, and so, but, the Knicks, they just, they kept on coming. So we just next man up. So we had Grimes played a total of 3 minutes. He started the second half. He made a couple of defensive errors, and Tom pulled him quick. I mean, Tom was really short fused last night. He did say he wanted to shorten the rotation. I don't know how he's going to do it because last night he played 10 guys. He played 10 guys last night. Grimes being the least, he got 3 minutes. RJ played 9 minutes, and then Obi only played 12, which we're going to talk about that. But, he played 10 guys last night, So I don't know how he's going to shorten it, and he still got Taj Gibson coming back. So I know he's going to play Taj Gibson. I have a feeling that Grimes is probably going to be out of the rotation because I thought he would be certainly in with the starting of Burks. But, yeah, anyway, we're going to see. But last night, I know people are going to complain about this and that, and, and of course, Knicks Nation is like, y'all sometimes are like a woman that has been through multiple bad relationships. And when a good man comes along, she don't trust him. And she has to adjust because she's not used to a good man. Knicks Nation is not used to having a coach that you could really trust, a front office that you can really trust, and a staff and all of that. Because everybody's always questioning Thibodeau. I've even heard, somebody says at times the honeymoon over for Leon Rose. I mean, this is New York, right? So this is what you have. Like, again, like a place like San Antonio, you don't get that. They don't do that. They just trust their coach. They trust their staff. They know they're going to do the right thing. But see, then they've had 25 years of success, right? We're trying to build that in New York. So you're always going to have people, this one needs to be traded. This one needs to be fired. And, it's kind of ridiculous. But right now, the Knicks have the team that we really need to have to compete in the East. We really do. I don't want to hear nothing about we need that superstar or we need to make a trade or whatever. The only person I can see getting traded right now is Kemba, because Kemba apparently still thinks he could play. One of the shocking things I heard last night, I forgot one of the commentators. And by the way, I cannot stand TNT. Usually I could take it for a minute, but in the tightly contested game, I think after the second quarter, I put it on mute and just started playing my playlist because I can't stand them cats, man. They're the worst commentators. But anyway, one of them said they asked Kemba about the demotion, and he said he didn't understand it, and he said he was surprised that Tibbs did it. I was like, but see, I told y'all before, usually the player that's in decline is the last one to know that he's in decline. The boxer that's in decline is the last one to know his skills have diminished. The football player is in decline, the last one to know. It's just an athlete, usually the last one to know. I mean, and I understand it. I mean, look, D Rose is 33 and Kemba's 31. But D Rose plays like he's 10 years younger than Kemba. Not every player ages at the same time, but enough about Kemba. Julius Randle. Let's start with him. I was very impressed with Julius Randle last night. We knew, I told y'all, Kevin Durant is a handful. I mean, just period, right? Like I said, him and Antetokounmpo are the two best players in the world. Not just, two best basketball players on planet Earth are those two guys right now. And so Durant last night with Randall guarding him mostly, and then you had Obi also guarding him a little bit. Durant was 9 for 23, 0 for 5 from 3. Okay. He was 9 for 9 from the foul line, and he shouldn't have been on the foul line that often, but whatever. 27 points. He had 9 assists, but see, 9 for 23 to hold a cat like Durant, 9 to 23. You got to be doing a good job. So, and I saw a number of times Julius was on that man's case, forced a couple of turnovers. I mean, I was very glad the way he played on the defensive end. Offensively, he didn't force anything. In fact, I don't think he scored in the first quarter. He really was letting the game come to him. He had 9 assists. No, I'm sorry. He had 8 assists. And that was, D-Rose had 9 assists. By the way, the Knicks had 27 assists last night. The only people that did not have an assist was Fournier, Nerlens Noel, and Grimes, who only played 3 minutes. Everybody else had at least 1 assist. That's beautiful. That means there was ball movement, right? And it was ball movement. I just like the way Julius played yesterday. He was all over the place. Tom calls it flying around. He was flying around. He was everywhere last night. And so, I was very impressed with him. He played a great game. We just came up short, but he had 24 points. He was 11 to 22. Like I said, he only took 2 3-pointers. He was really attacking the basket last night. He played 40 minutes. He was workmanlike. 9 boards, 8 assists, as I said, 2 steals. He only had 3 turnovers in 40 minutes, which for Julius is a successful day. So I like the way Julius Randle played last night overall. If he continue, and look, a lot of that has to do with the change in the lineup. Excuse me. A lot of it has to do with the change in the lineup. If you remember the beginning of the season, he was almost, planted at the 3-point line. He was hoisting up more threes in a little bit, right? But now he's playing more team basketball. He was in the pinch post a lot yesterday. I like the way he played. I really, hats off to Julius Randle. What effort he put in yesterday. He was whining with the refs. Now he got to learn how to, obviously that's the next phase. You got to just play. As Shaq did say that, play through a big man. Got to do that. But great game by Julius Randle on both sides of the ball last night. Mitchell Robinson, you can see he's rounding into shape. The rim protection was elite. He was also playing great defense last night. His stats never show what Mitch Rob brings to the table. But he had 8.7 boards, 5 on offensive, 2 on the offensive end, 25 minutes he played. He was also sick, as we know. And he was valiant, but the defense at the end, that last call on him with 2 seconds left could have went either way, actually. It wasn't, to me, I wasn't sure about it. I was disappointed the ref made that call in a physical game in the last possession. You got to let him play. That's where I look at it. But some of those come your way, some of those don't. It looked like he had all ball to me, but he was doing what he was supposed to do. He was protecting the rim. That's what he's supposed to do. And somebody lost their man. I don't even know whose man that was on that play. I know AB was guarding Harden, and I know Julius was guarding Durant. I saw Quickly guarding Patty Mills, and he was fading toward Patty Mills. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Fournier's man. We'll get to him in a second. But Mitchell Robinson played a solid game last night, period. Alec Burks, what are you going to say? I mean, he was 9 of 21 from the field, 4 of 10 from 3. But again, clutch. This guy's clutch. Clutch city, man. Defense on Harden now. Harden was more aggressive last night. But overall, even though he scored 34 points, if you look at it, he was, Harden was 11 of 20, but he was 3 of 8 from 3. And this is a guy that will kill you from 3. And I think all of those came in the first quarter. So he started off really. And then again, he had 10 fouls. He got 10 free throws. Again, there were a number of times they called fouls for him that weren't fouls. I just think because of their reputation, he gets those calls. But he had 34. But I feel like AB and the Knicks as a team did a good job on him as well. Evan Fournier. In the first half, it looked to me like, okay, now y'all tell me in Knicks Nation what y'all saw, but excuse me, something trying to get me, but y'all tell me what y'all saw, but it looked like he looked like a guy that was freezing up. You guys, like, when we was playing ball when I was a kid, there was some guy that when the game was big and the crowd was going crazy, they would rise, right, to the occasion. And there were some guys that would disappear, just freeze up. And at first, it looked like Fournier was freezing up. Not only that, anytime he got switched on Harden or Patty Mills, they went right by him, okay? He really is the weak link defensively. Now, he ended the game with 13 points. And I was actually a little ticked off when Tom put him in the game, in the fourth quarter. The homie stepped up without hesitation and nodded it at 110 on net three. I mean, he didn't even hesitate at all. So I thought to myself, you know what? You better let this guy play for a minute. Let's see what happens over the next 18 games. I mean, like I said, if we could have beat them last night, I think we could have gone 5 straight. I'm not giving that up yet, but I want to see what happens against Chicago at the Garden. We'll talk about that, but I'm expecting a better Knicks home team now, with the change in the lineup. But Fournier, 22 minutes. He's doing all right. All right. I mean, overall, so we know his defense is not going to be the greatest. He's not the most athletic guy on the floor. But I am expecting him to move a little bit. A couple of times last night, what I did notice, I'm going to say it's a given. We know he's not the best defender. He's not Reggie Bullock on defense. Okay. We already know that. So that's a given, but he stands around too much. Last night, Obi actually yelled at him at one point to move, cause he was just standing in the corner. And then he finally crossed the court, and moved. And then he ended up getting an open shot. I find that he stands around a lot. And then one time he's standing around and Julius was trying to find him. And he did. And he got another open look. But I find he just watches sometimes. It's no reason for it. I don't know why he does it. But he just watches. On the play that he got the 3-pointer to tie it at 110, it was a drawn up play by Tom Thibodeau. And he, did his role. He did what he was supposed to do, and he was open and he got the shot. But as a general thing, I'd like to see him running a little bit more. I'd like to see him, more like a Havlicek, like running, and getting open like that instead of standing around and watching. That was the big thing. The defense, we know, like I said, he's not going to be all NBA in the defensive end. We could deal with that, but we're going to need him to run a little more offensively. He don't have to be the most athletic guy, but he should be running a little bit more. That was it on him. And again, that was a huge shot. He hit 2. I think he hit 2 big threes down the stretch. But that one, to tie the game at 110 with 17 seconds left, was a big one. And and he did hit a couple. Like I said, he did a couple of big ones last night. But I think he's going to continue to do that. Again, what is this? 21 games in. He's not going anywhere. It's not like Kemba. He's going to be in the lineup. So we got to get used to him. And I just think, let him run. Let's see what happens 18 more games. And now we're in our second set of 20 games. Let's see what happens at the halfway point, what Fournier is doing. RJ was sick. You could see he was sick. I think he could have been a difference maker if he wasn't sick, but it is what it is. The best abilities, availability. He got whatever that bug was that Anthony Davis brought to the Garden last week. And so, he only played 9 minutes and that was it. Now, Obi Toppin. Put it this way. When Tom subbed out Obi in the fourth quarter, Obi was yelling at him. I don't know if he saw that, but Obi was yelling at him. Obi was mad that he was taken out of the game. And I can understand, because when him and Julius was on the floor together, that lineup with Julius and Obi and Quickly and D Rose and Nerlens Noel. No, it wasn't Nerlens Noel. It was Alec Burke, I think. Alec Burke, Toppin, Quickly, Rose, and Julius. They did some work in the fourth quarter. Matter of fact, I know you're tempted to say the Knicks, same old Knicks in the third, but it really wasn't. I mean, the Nets came out the gate with a 14-2 run, and the Knicks responded with an 11-2 run. And the third quarter was really the Nets scored 28 and the Knicks scored 23. And it ended up a 4-point game going into the fourth. So we started off the quarter slow, but we ended up strong. And it wasn't like usual that where Mobb Deep was just having to save our butts. They were playing ball last night. I mean, they were going back and forth. And like I said, with 2 minutes to go, it was 105-105. It was a battle all night. Runs were being made on both sides. So it wasn't that. But Obi, the energy he brought, and he played Durant straight up very well. Very well. Now, part of it was Durant, how many minutes did he play? I don't know how many minutes he played, but he looked a little tired. He played 41. So yeah, he played a lot of minutes. So a part of that was the energy level, because Durant didn't have the energy, and Obi, young spry coming off the bench, he was ready to go. He played the length that he provided, distracted Durant a little bit. And then, of course, the running the floor, the speed running the floor was huge. And I felt like he could have continued to do that. But, Tom took him out. That's Tom's way. That's rotation, whatever. But he was plus 4. He scored 8 points, 2 boards, 3 or 4 from the field, and assists, and good defense. And he was running the floor. So Obi was good. Nerlens Noel, I don't know. He was all right. I mean, he wasn't a bad last night. He wasn't a negative. In fact, he was plus 8. He was part of a run. He only played 19 minutes. Maybe he wasn't feeling well, but he played 19 minutes. And he didn't shoot, didn't score. He had 3 boards, but he was playing good defense. Obviously, the Knicks were playing really good defense last night. But he was not, put it this way, he wasn't a huge factor, on the Knicks, positive or negative, but he played decent defense and he was on the floor. Now, D Rose came to play last night. 6 of 13 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 2 from the line, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. He ends up with 16. He's plus 11. D Rose came to play last night, and that's the D Rose we've been looking for. The ankle obviously was hindering him before, and so he was good. He was good last night. Quickly, he played 38 minutes, 4 of 11 from the field. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but quickly again, 7 boards, 2 assists. He was 12 points plus 9. Quickly was, a threat. He was really a factor on the floor if you watch him play, and his defense was excellent. He was also playing really good defense. Grimes only played 3 minutes. He started the second half because RJ couldn't go. So he started actually he was with the starting unit for about 3 minutes. He made a couple of defensive mistakes. Tom yanked him. That was the end of Grimes. Sometimes Tom has a really short leash. He don't trust rookies. Now on the other side, let me say, Cam Thomas played 21 minutes. He played 21 minutes. And he could shoot. We know he could shoot. And that's what they brought him in for. They brought him in because he could shoot the ball, and he can. And he did. He scored 12 points. He was 5 of 9 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. But one thing, the biggest surprise for me, was the Nets defense. That was the biggest surprise for me because, I never thought Harden was a great defender, I still don't think he's a great defender, but they had him on Julius, but they have, a bunch of grizzled dudes like Carter, Bruce Brown, James Johnson, Paul Millsap, and then they got their own little Obi in Bembry. He's like an energy dude. Patty Mills. And then LaMarcus Aldridge. These are grizzled veteran tough dudes, man. And they play defense. And they played really good defense last night. And so, especially, I think one of them cats also comes from West Virginia under Huggins, and he plays defense like Deuce. I mean, I was like, man, and I don't know if it was Bruce Brown or Carter, but there's some rough dudes, man. And they played rough defense last night. And so, like I said, it was a battle going back and forth. And I am happy. Even though we lost the game, we saw last night that the Knicks can go toe-to-toe with the Brooklyn Nets. Okay? Without Kyrie. But they can go toe-to-toe with the Brooklyn Nets. And I feel like the Knicks are going to get better. This next 20 games, you're going to continue to see them improve. I love the new starting lineup. I'm not sure how Tom is going to go forward with like I said, he played Obi, Noel, D Rose quickly. And he played Grimes, but I got the feeling Grimes was definitely situational. He wasn't like, I thought Grimes would get more like 15, 16 minutes. He didn't. Instead, and that's with RJ only playing 9 minutes, but instead, Burks gets 39 minutes, Quickly gets 38 minutes, D Rose gets 35 minutes, 40 minutes for Randle, and 25 minutes for Mitchell Robinson. So 22 minutes for Fournier. So Grimes, I don't think you're going to see a lot from Grimes yet. Grimes or our man Deuce, because Tom is starting to tighten the rotation. I think after the first 20 games, he really zeroed in on Kemba as the problem. Now he's going to keep it tight for this next 18, second set of 20. He's going to keep it tight. I'm thinking you're going to just see those guys. You might not see Grimes. You're going to see Taj Gibson. Although I'm wondering how you're going to play Gibson, Nerlens together and Toppin. I don't know how you're going to do that, but he'll figure it out. But he said he's going to tighten the rotation. He said that, and I can see it coming. But overall, I would like to see Deuce and Grimes get more minutes. I just think it's going to help the team. But Tom Thibodeau is a tight rotation guy. That's just how he is. And he's going to throw those kids in there like he did last night suddenly. And they're going to have to perform with 3 minutes or whatever. So that's what it is. I still would like to see more Deuce. I'm sure y'all would too. Deuce is the future at point guard, but that's going to come later. For now, I like our chances. I like our chances in the East. I still think we're a top 3 team in the East. I think that as the time goes on, the Knicks are going to get better. That defense was really good last night. They were really good last night against a really good Nets team. As a matter of fact, the Nets, they score 109, they just score 110 points a game. That's what they do. They score 110 points a game. They're not the highest scoring team in the East, but they score 110 points a game. The highest scoring team is Charlotte, 114. But they score 110, and they scored 112 against us last night. Now the Knicks score 107. But they scored 110. I think we're going to see more of that. I think we're going to see more of low scoring Knicks games and tougher defense now. And so, I'm even though we lost, I had 5 on it. It's loonies. So you guys got me on that. I said Moonies is loonies, but I think we're going to be all right. So we got Chicago tomorrow in the Garden. I'm expecting our home court record to improve now that we have this lineup in this rotation. I think we're going to be better. I think we're going to be all right. And I think we're going to be really good. Julius said it after the game. He said, we're really, we got to get used to this new lineup. He said, we're going to be really good. That's the first time I heard him say that. He didn't say that all the year before this. He didn't say that. But last night he said, we once we get used to each other, we're going to be really good. And it's not going to take them long either, because even though they're not used to this particular starting lineup yet, they know Alec Burks. It's not like Alec Burks and them don't know each other. They've been playing together for a whole year. Now they're just playing as a starting unit. I think we're going to be really good too. So, I'm excited for the future. And so we got Chicago on Thursday. Chicago is 14-8. They actually second in the East under Brooklyn, so they no joke either. But like I said, between Brooklyn and Boston, who's 11-10, there's only 4 games separating 11 teams. That's pretty tight, y'all. So we're going to see what happens. Like I said, over the next 20 games, you're going to see a dogfight. And we're going to see. I like our chances because of how deep we are. And that's why I still think eventually you're going to have to see Deuce. You're going to have to see Grimes, because it's going to be availability. And it's going to come down to that. So we'll see what happens. But don't worry, Knicks Nation. we're in good shape. Don't worry about it. You know, we really are. We're in good shape. And I think we're gonna show that over the next, 20 games, which when we get to the All-Star break, somewhere around 40, 41 games, we're gonna get better. We're gonna be all right. So next up, Chicago's next. Let's get this W. We're gonna have a video on that probably tomorrow as a preview. Once we look at the injury reports and everything, and then of course we'll be going over that game on Friday. But in the meantime, please be safe out there. Don't worry too bad, Knicks Nation. We're gonna be all right. Don't worry. Don't kill Tibbs. Don't kill Mitchell. Don't kill Randle. Don't kill our players. We're gonna be all right. Y'all be safe out there. Sure.